Hello everybody, welcome to the Empressive channel. It's been a while since I've done reality show reviews, but lately I've been interested in the show Love is Blind, which is on Netflix, and this season is chaotic. Now, for those who don't know about the show, Love is Blind is basically a dating experiment where you have a group of people who try to meet each other and find their future spouse. So what they do is they go into these rooms that they call pods and they try to connect with a total stranger without seeing their face or having any physical contact with them. And if they fall in love and they make the step to get married, that is when they get a chance to see each other for the first time. So this is how the show works. Now, I want to first start off by focusing on the storyline involving Aaliyah, Uche, and Lydia, and I'll throw in Milton as well. This storyline in particular is pretty crazy to me because I feel like Aaliyah was done dirty. Yes, her experience on the show was ruined by two people, and that's Uche and Lydia, and production. The whole premise of Love is Blind is to fall in love with somebody that you've never seen before. Well, come to find out, Uche and Lydia actually used to date before being on the show. Now, this was not a coincidence at all. Uche claims that he signed up for the show and Lydia found out about it, and she decided to sign up too because she was stalking him, and she was also stalking the other women he knew.
It's not fate. She fucking planned for us to both be here because she couldn't let me go. You were going through my things. I started getting messages from girls that I follow on Instagram saying that you have been watching their stories.
What?
So they're sending me screenshots of your profile and saying this girl has been watching my stories for weeks. But you're looking at their stories.
I don't know Instagram's algorithm.
Lydia, we said we weren't going to lie, right? You were going through my followers and you were picking out girls to watch their stories.
Why would I even do that?
How are so many people texting me saying that you're stalking their profiles and they feel uncomfortable?
Do you forget about how things really
Lydia. And then you drove by my house one day. You took a picture of my house and you sent it to me. Listen. You said, I see you.
So Lydia was out here stalking Uche and stalking the girls he was connected to, but Lydia seemed to have her reasons. Now, apparently she felt like Uche was cheating on her, and she did find out that he did sleep with another woman while they were dating.
He knows what happened really between us. He knows. He slept with a girl when he was dating with me.
So there was a lot of cheating, lying, stalking, and a lot of mess and drama in Uche and Lydia's relationship. And these two crazies managed to find themselves on Love is Blind, and they targeted poor Aaliyah. And she was done so dirty in this process. And I also have to put some blame on the producers too, because they played her as well. But Lydia and Uche were the main culprits. Now, Uche and Aaliyah built a connection with each other in the pods, and Aaliyah went back to her dorm and told the ladies about her connection with Uche. And this, of course, sparks Lydia's interest because she's looking at the woman that her ex is now connecting with, and her crazy self decides to befriend Aaliyah. Now, Aaliyah has no clue that Lydia and Uche used to date. She has no clue that they slept with each other 3 months prior. She knows nothing about that, but she just falls prey to both of them. She starts falling in love with Uche, and she also becomes super tight with Lydia. Lydia purposely attached herself to Aaliyah to keep tabs on Uche. And it's pretty scary when you think about it. It's very scary. Lydia kept telling Aaliyah, I see so much of myself in you. We're literally the same person. We're the same person. It was just creepy. Lydia is unhinged. I believe that she's crazy. I really do. And she can't be trusted. She's not a real friend. She wasn't a real friend to Aaliyah at all. She got close to her because she wanted to interfere with her connection with Uche. That's what I feel. Now, things started to go left in Aaliyah and Uche's relationship when Aaliyah divulged some information about her past. She said 2 years prior, she cheated on her ex-boyfriend because she wasn't sexually satisfied. And she never told him that she cheated on him either. She didn't even have the decency to break it off with him. So that is a red flag. But the way Uche reacted to the news was pretty off-putting to me because He wasn't asking questions to understand. He was asking questions to judge her, basically. He was grilling her.
You've done things. Have you ever cheated in a relationship?
Once.
When was this?
2 years ago.
Oh boy, you're a recent cheater.
Not like that, Uche. Don't say that.
Oh. You don't feel embarrassed or ashamed of what you did?
I dealt with that guilt for a long time.
And if you actually told him about it, you would have had to confront that embarrassment and guilt, and you would have felt even worse. So you said it's not about hurting him, but really, it might have been about you, right? You cheating on somebody and you being dishonest is about you. It's not about him. I've cheated in a relationship, right? But when I did cheat, it was when I was 18 years old and only kissed somebody else. So it's a little bit different. I would never do that to somebody else. And I think if I did, like, I have the type of conscience where I would have to tell that person about it.
Okay.
Now, it's crazy to see this scene again because we later on find out that Uche cheated on Lydia. At least that's what Lydia said.
He slept with a girl when he was dating with me, and then had the nerve to judge Aaliyah when she told her about her past.
So Uche is a cheater himself. Now, he did claim that he didn't cheat on Lydia while they were together. He said that they both were seeing other people, but I don't think they were just casually dating. I think they were in a relationship because Lydia knew way too much about Uche. And also, he was trying to act like his cheating at 18 years old wasn't as bad as Aaliyah's cheating, but it's still cheating all the same. So this whole situation exposed how much of a hypocrite Uche is, how judgmental and arrogant he is. I mean, his personality is just really off-putting. He's the type to constantly harp on what other people do and criticize their wrongdoings, but he downplays his wrongdoings. And he acted the same way during that scene with Lydia, which was so chaotic. It was just draining. But he still managed to reel Aaliyah back in. And once he reeled her in, he dropped the bombshell that he dated Lydia before going on Love is Blind. Now, Aaliyah was completely shocked and devastated because you got to think about it. The whole time she was building a romantic connection with Uche and building a friendship with Lydia, they never once told her this information. And this is where I have to put some of the blame on the producers because they actually told Lydia and Uche not to tell anybody that they used to date each other because they didn't want them to ruin the process for other people. So the producers wanted them to hide this information from Aaliyah specifically, and they wanted them to tell her at the last minute to get an emotional reaction out of her. So they played Aaliyah. They did her dirty, and somebody commented on Uche's Instagram page and said this: "I feel like the producers manipulated the heck out of this. It was messy." And Uche responded and said, "Yes, production forcing me to keep my past a secret, then editing out the part where I revealed that I wasn't allowed by production to tell the truth was an interesting decision." So the producers do play a part in this madness, but at the end of the day, Lydia and Uche were willing participants. They were willing to go along with the producers' plan to keep this information from Aaliyah. And Aaliyah was completely blindsided and her experience was ruined. It really was ruined. After she found out that Uche used to date Lydia, Lydia started vomiting more information about their relationship that she wasn't ready to know. It was like Lydia was intentionally trying to ruin her experience. She even revealed that she slept with Uche 3 months prior to being on the show.
By the way, I want to be honest with you. Last time you saw the show was back in January of this year. And we slept together and all that stuff.
It's just, you had sex 3 months ago, and I'm supposed to feel like that's no big deal. I don't like that. I would never put myself in a situation like this in my actual life.
Aaliyah eventually walked away from this process as a whole because she found out that Lydia stalked Uche to be with him on Love is Blind, and she kind of put the two and two together in her mind, and she thought maybe Uche was in on it too.
I also found out that she knew you were gonna be here before you guys got here.
She told somebody that?
She told a couple of the girls the first day we were there that she had a feeling that she was gonna run into somebody from her past. And I'll be honest, Uche, for a while after your reaction, I was questioning whether you both plan to be here together.
I can't blame Aaliyah for feeling this way. I can't blame her for not trusting Uche or Lydia because it seemed like a setup. And she did ghost Uche right before he was going to propose to her. She walked away from the show, and I will say she should have at least officially broke it off with him instead of running away. That wasn't right on her part, but at the same time, she was put through a ringer. It affected her mentally because she was betrayed and lied to by two people she cared about. And she did try to explain to Uche why she walked away. And once again, Uche's response was just off-putting. I mean, he wasn't listening to her to understand. He was listening to her to judge her and attack her. And he was gaslighting the mess out of her.
If you can't put up with the situation of even being in the room with somebody that I used to date.
You'll be my husband by then.
No, Aaliyah, we will never get to that point. If you can't get through something like this, we will never get to that point. I can't believe some girl said something to you and you let that come in between us.
How do you not know that when she was at your place earlier this year, she didn't see an email and applied to be on this damn show?
Are you fucking kidding me right now? Did you seriously just ask me that?
I don't know how she's and you are both here in the first.
I don't either, Aaliyah. And I told you that. I don't fucking know how she's here.
Listening to Uche and Aaliyah's conversation about this was just a lot. It was a lot. I understand that Uche was hurt because his connection walked away from him right when he was going to propose, but at the same time, I wish he could at least understand it from Aaliyah's perspective. I don't understand why he can't see how weird it is that he and his ex-girlfriend came on this show, built an attachment to Aaliyah, and then blindsided her the way they did, and then get mad that she doesn't trust them. She has every right to question them. Like, how does she know that they weren't in cahoots together to create this drama for this show and use her as collateral damage in the process? I mean, Aaliyah was done dirty. She was really, really done dirty on this show, and I hate that for her. Now, Uche and Aaliyah did eventually meet up for the first time, and Uche explained to her his relationship with Lydia. It seems like he and Lydia had a very complex relationship, but there were some deep feelings there. He tried to act like it wasn't as deep on his end and Lydia was just obsessed with him, but in reality, he still seems to care as well, and he was showing a lot of interest in Lydia's connection with Milton. He was even pulling Milton to the side and questioning him about his relationship with Lydia. I mean, it was just weird. He wasn't acting like he was truly over her, and that was also another concern to Aaliyah.
To me, it was alarming because it's like, why are you so concerned about her and Milton's situation? You were making comments about her and Milton and whether he was truly ready for marriage. You didn't want her to get hurt. I felt like there was still connectedness there.
And you know what? I do think Aaliyah's intuition might not be wrong because Uche is a tad bit too invested in who Lydia is with. But apparently Uche is cool with Aaliyah now, you know, after all of that drama. He said that he and Aaliyah actually started dating after the show, and the whole breakup scene was just a messy edit from the production team. They actually didn't break up, so Aaliyah is still sticking with Uche even after all he put her through, child. And Lydia did move on. She's now happy with Milton. Milton and her got engaged. And surprisingly, they seem to have the best connection on the show. And that's not really saying much because most of the connections that were shown so far are trash. But Milton and Lydia get along pretty well. They seem to have a lot of chemistry and they seem to have a lot of fun together. It just seems very natural and easy for them. But I do think they might run into some issues in the future because Lydia is very overbearing and pushy, and Milton probably needs to mature a little bit more in some areas. He is younger than Lydia. He's about 8 years younger, so I just don't know how much he's going to be able to handle when it comes to Lydia because she is a lot. And she has been caught in a few lies as well. She said that she was surprised to hear that Uche came on the show That was a lie because she knew he was coming on there. She was stalking him.
3 months ago, I decided to just like move on, and I decided to just not think about him. And then I get the surprise that he's here.
Yeah, that's crazy. Small world.
And I promise, I'm never gonna lie to you. I'm never gonna lie to you.
Child, she just lied right there. But anyway, I'll just talk about the other couples on the show as well. First, starting with Taylor and JP, or Jared. They were the first ones to get engaged, but they also were the first ones to break up. And we honestly shouldn't be surprised, especially when we saw how they met for the first time. It was a very awkward meeting. There was no chemistry, no conversations, nothing. And Jared wouldn't even talk to Taylor, which is weird because he had no problem talking with her in the pods, but the minute he saw her in person, the interaction was very dry, and he would give her these quick kisses. And I don't know, I don't think Jared really liked Taylor like that. Maybe she wasn't his type. Maybe he wasn't ready to be married to a woman. Maybe he was just socially awkward, and that could be the case as well. He probably has some level of social anxiety, even though I've seen his pictures on Instagram and he looks very free. He looks like he likes to have fun, but I don't know what his issue was with Taylor, but Taylor was very frustrated because he just wouldn't talk to her. It got to a point where she had to demand that he speak up, and when he finally did, he had a lot to say.
When I first saw you and you had all this stuff on, I was like, well, is this going to be like an everyday thing? Like you're literally putting on a totally different face. And I was like, well, that's not really what I want. I want this face.
I've worn makeup in front of you one time, which was the reveal.
And that's what started the whole awkwardness.
So the way I looked made you communicate differently.
It felt like you were fake.
So then when I walked out, it fucked you up so bad that you don't know how to communicate now.
Yes.
That's what I'm
How is that a
stuck
bad
on.
answer? Just don't wear makeup.
I'm gonna do what I wanna do.
Then you go ahead.
You're not gonna tell me what to do. And the whole makeup thing is just like so
I'm just
dumb.
telling you,
If
you don't need it. I was like, this is not a real person.
Very real.
But if you look like this, I would love it.
Sorry. Done with that conversation.
How is
I wanna be done.
me
I wanna
saying
be
that
done.
I like you better without makeup so bad? How is that so bad? 99% of women would love to hear that. And you hear that and you're like, oh, that's just dumb. I can't believe that.
I don't even want to fucking talk about it anymore, if I'm being honest.
Then don't.
Like,
You're already gonna leave. It doesn't fucking matter.
To me, that whole conversation and scene was pretty awkward and cringy. I think Jared thought he was paying Taylor a compliment by saying that she didn't need makeup. He didn't communicate it right at all. He said that she was fake. You can't say something like that to somebody and expect that to go over well. And also, Taylor was asking for something that she couldn't handle. She was asking Jared to open up, but the minute he did, she got an attitude. She got upset. So it's clear that these two were incompatible, and I'm glad they broke off their engagement. They knew they weren't right for each other, and I think Taylor needs to find somebody who can match her energy, and Jared needs somebody who could be more patient with him, and he probably needs to connect to somebody who loves America as much as he does, because he seems to love that flag. Now on to the next couple. I want to talk about Stacy and Izzy. I don't see these two lasting, to be honest. They might walk down the aisle together, but I just see a lot of bumps in the road in their future. The first issue they run into is finances. This is something that they didn't talk about in the pods, by the way, but now they're talking about it, and it's very clear that they're on different pages when it comes to finances. Stacy is bougie, and nothing's wrong with that, but she is used to having nice things. She comes from money, she has a great job, and she expects her man to pull his weight. She expects to be wined and dined. The problem is Izzy is not rolling in the money like that, and he believes in splitting the bills 50-50. And nothing is wrong with that, but that's definitely not how Stacy operates. Also, when she went to Izzy's place, she was very critical about everything in his apartment. She didn't like the fact that he had a lost and found drawer, because apparently Izzy was out here smashing women left and right, and they would leave things behind and he would put their items in a drawer. So Izzy was out there in the streets, okay? She didn't like that, and I can understand why. That is a little unsettling, but Izzy showed it to her because he didn't want to hide his past from her. He wanted to be honest, but Stacy wasn't accepting that. Also, she hated the fact that Izzy had plastic plates and plastic cups. She felt like that was low class. She felt like that was unacceptable. But Izzy was like, the girls I take home don't have any complaints about it. So Izzy and Stacy have a different outlook on life when it just comes to living and finances. And I hate to say it, but I have to state the obvious. They're not going to make it. And this is something that Izzy's other connection, Johnie, predicted. It's interesting because Izzy and Johnie connected on a deeper and emotional level, and Johnie was accepting of Izzy and his past, and she seemed to be a lot more understanding. But the minute she opened up about her past, he ran. So he wants people to accept him, but he couldn't accept Johnie. So now he's in this situation with Stacy, and he's going to have some struggles with Stacy because he's not going to get the same emotional support, because Stacy is not the type to tiptoe around anybody's feelings. So his insecurities will be triggered in this relationship, and also he's going to have trouble meeting her financial demands. Izzy sells insurance and he makes enough to take care of himself, but he's still fairly new in his career and he's not completely stable. And that's just not going to cut it for somebody like Stacy. It's not going to cut it for Stacy's family either, especially Stacy's father. Her father even had to pull Izzy aside and he said, listen, all that love stuff is cute, but I need to know where your vision is and your plan is financially. Because Stacy needs a provider. She don't need no broke dude, because if she gets a broke man, she's gonna just turn around and ask me for money. So Stacy's father had to really give Izzy a reality check, because money is important. And honestly, I don't think he's gonna be able to handle the pressure of being with Stacy. He's definitely going to crack under pressure. Now, I do want to talk about the whole interaction between Izzy and his former connection, Johnie. Izzy and Johnie were each other's top connection when they were in the pods. They built a very strong emotional bond. However, Izzy pulled away from Johnie when she revealed that her previous marriage ended because she was still in love with her ex-boyfriend, who was a drug addict. Izzy saw that as a red flag and he dropped her. And of course, Johnie was devastated because Johnie cut off her other connection named Chris to get with Izzy. And she did kind of do Chris dirty. Chris truly cared about her and he was open with her. And he was heartbroken when she cut him off for Izzy. But see, when Izzy dumped Johnie, Johnie tried to crawl her way back to Chris. But Chris was like, no, he wasn't going to be her second choice or her backup plan. He walked away from her the first time. And I'm glad that he didn't give her the instant gratification that she was looking for. Because if he were to cave in, she wouldn't truly cherish the relationship they had. See, Johnie had to be rejected twice for her to finally realize what she lost. And she realized that Chris was the right one for her. She knew that if she wanted to be in a healthy relationship, Chris was the one to pick. And she was very remorseful about hurting him. So it kind of showed that she did care for him deeply. And luckily for her, Chris gave her a second chance. They rekindled their relationship outside of the show. And right now they seem to be happy, but Izzy was not happy for them. I think one of the reasons Izzy resents Johnie is because of the information that Stacy probably was feeding him. Stacy pretty much called Johnie fake. And that probably changed the way Izzy looked at her.
Johnny's such a joke. She is such a joke. I mean, the whole time in the lounge, we're friendly to each other. We talk, we joke around, we have a good time. And then I put two and two together before she did, that we were both talking to the same person. I felt horrible. I felt empathy for her. I felt sad in the moments where I knew like Izzy was picking me and asking me to be his girlfriend. I felt so bad for her. And then when she found out, she just went around shit-talking me to everyone. So that just pisses me off.
Johnie definitely was being fake to Stacy. Johnie is messy. Let's be real. She is a little messy, but I don't feel like her and Izzy should have any issues at this point because they've moved on. But apparently Izzy is still hurt and he thought Johnie was the one for him, but he got turned off when he found out Johnie was sending mixed messages to him and Chris.
I heard a lot of sketchy shit about you. Pretty much the things that you were telling me, I wasn't the only guy you were telling. You told Chris that the reason you went with me is because you would date guys that were adventurous, spontaneous, whatever your past was, and I was that.
That's true.
And you told me you would not go with Chris because you saw how your life would be with him and you wouldn't be in love with him. And
Okay.
Chris, you were his number one, and he's just like mind fucked. I was like, look, this is what she said about you. And he was just like, what the f? This is what she said about you.
Izzy, at what point can I talk? Because you've been talking for like 10
Fair
minutes.
enough.
Can
Yeah,
I
yeah.
please talk now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, everything you've said has been accurate. I said, Chris, I can see a clear future. Izzy, I have the most like emotional reaction to. In the end, you were right. You're not my person. I'm not your person. I think we're emotionally volatile.
If I can give you advice.
No, I don't need your advice.
I feel like you do need it because honestly, it's not just me. Everyone thinks you're sketchy as f.
Okay.
Honestly, like.
Thank you.
And this is not to bash you. This is just, I was emotionally invested in you at a point in time. And I'm so glad that I didn't end up that way. Not because of our connection. It's everything that I heard.
Should you maybe realize exactly what you're saying and it was
I know
nothing
exactly
to do
what
with
I'm
me and it has everything to do with talk? Because that's not who I am as a person and isn't what everyone else
so
is
who are you?
saying.
Because that's what the experiment's about.
I'm trying to tell you and you've never listened to me. So I don't know what you want me to tell
listened to you? I've listened to everything about you.
Because I'm not sketchy as fuck. Do you think I would end up with the nicest guy in here if I was sketchy as fuck? You don't know my story and y'all are the sketchiest ones, so I'm done with this. You aren't even listening to me.
So Izzy is angry that Johnie is back with Chris. He feels like she doesn't deserve him. And honestly, I think he wanted her to suffer. He didn't want her to have a happy ending. He didn't want her to find love because he is still hurt by her for whatever reason. He resents her and he feels like she's a bad person. And he's basing all of this off of what other people told him, not by his own personal interaction with her. But he's letting outside voices influence his perception of her. And now he's being judgmental and petty and being kind of callous towards her. And honestly, all of that energy is not necessary because they both have moved on. But see, Izzy is conflicted because he really wanted to be with Johnie, but he felt like he couldn't trust her. So he let her go. But it still hurts that he can't have her. And now he's trying to convince himself that he made the right choice by picking Stacy. But deep down inside, he knows that Stacy will never truly accept him for him. So he's very conflicted, and he's also bitter at the fact that Johnie moved on and found love with Chris. But anyway, tell me what you all think about this video down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. You know,